Yes. Yeah.
But like the comparison, like with me and some of the other guys.
So that'd be something neat to see, the Heritage Centers.
The Pirates playing in Williams.
Welcome to episode 52 of the Non-Nerd Sports Podcast. I'm David.
I'm Jason.
And you are listening to the home of sports talk for everyone. We'd like to give a big thank you for last episode to Brad and Brig. Yep, last episode.
Is this the Canadian version?
Yeah. It's the get that fries and gravy going.
Oh man, I gotta be honest, poutine's pretty freaking delicious. With the cheese curds and the gravy and fries, that's banging, man. I think they had it at Springgate a while back when I was there, and that paired really well with some cider. Let me tell you.
Here we go, talking about food again. Anywho, we'd like to give a big thank you to Brad and Brig from Baseball Together and Johnny Bobble for joining us for our 2-year anniversary show. Guys, thank you for being on.
Yeah, thanks for being on. As I said, slumming it with us for Brad and Brig. They went from talking to Jim Edmonds to us.
Yeah. But that was a long 2-hour long episode too.
2 hours and almost 15 minutes.
Yeah, that was long. It was funny.
Complete nonsense.
But it was funny though, beyond belief.
Oh, it's always a good time when it's the five of us on the show.
Absolutely. Everything just goes to craziness, and that's the best part.
But yeah, big thank you to them for hanging out with us 2 weeks ago for second anniversary show.
Who would have thought?
Yeah, right.
We hit episode 50, a few back, and now we just hit 2 years.
Yep, just something to bullshit during the pandemic turned into a podcast. Not a media empire.
Yeah, that's a bit ways off a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a tad. So for this episode, basically we're doing what seems to be a follow-up episode.
I mean, we've done follow-up episodes, but we've never done a follow-up episode of an entire episode before. So
it's just funny on how this falls right in place with each other. So period 1, we're going to do a follow-up from episode 49 with talks on Deshaun Watson, on how this idiot... Go ahead.
This is basically episode 49, part 2.
Pretty much. You think about it, it kind of is.
Because we're doing the 2 main topics from that episode all over again.
Yeah, that is pretty funny. So, as we all know, this idiot decided to do some stupid stuff with sexual assault allegations against him. And originally, he had 6-game suspension.
Yep. Which was nowhere near enough.
No.
Especially when guys are getting a whole season suspension for marijuana.
Yeah, which is... I got the munchies. Give me some chips on the sideline.
Meanwhile, Watson can't keep his hands to himself, and he gets a slap on the wrist.
Pretty much.
One of the few times you'll find me agreeing with the NFL commissioner on this was that it was not sufficient.
Yeah, because he now went from a 6-game to an 11-game suspension without pay, mind you. But also, Watson will also pay a fine of $5 million and will undergo mandatory evaluation by behavioral health experts following their suggested treatment programs. So he goes from 6 games to 11 games without pay and a $5 million fine.
I still think it should be the full season, no pay.
I agree with that.
The fine's fine. I mean, for an NFL player, $5 million. For a high-profile NFL player, $5 million's a drop in the bucket. mandatory counseling and therapy, yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I think I used the word sociopath last time. That's sociopathic behavior in my book, the way you treat a female.
Yeah,
One
basically
time is
his
too many times.
actions. Yeah, absolutely. His actions are just that. Those actions are just highly uncalled for.
Yep.
But the fact that before he was just given a 6-game suspension and that was really it, really nothing else to it.
I
And
think
now they decided to do more, which is what they needed to do.
I think it's more of, I don't want to say a happy medium, but it's a middle ground is how I'll put it. It's not as extreme as a full season suspension, which Browns fans were fearing. And it wasn't a slap on the wrist, which is what everyone else was upset about. I'm gonna be of the thought it's not enough, but that's me.
Yeah, I mean, well, to me, it should be the whole season. If anything, the season, the
Yeah.
fine, and everything he's going through now. Screw the 11 games. Just give him the season. Give him the fine. Give him the therapy treatments that he needs to get himself properly taken care of, and that's it. If not, maybe more. If you want to do more, if you want to have him go through more stuff, fine. Have him go through more stuff. And I'm not sure if I read this right or not. I'm not sure if I read it somewhere where that fine is going towards a charity.
Yeah, let
I,
me see here one
I
second. I do
thought I
have an
read that
article up
somewhere.
talking about that. So the 5 million plus contributions from the NFL and the Browns will create a fund to support nonprofit organizations in the states that educate young people on healthy relationships, promote education, and prevention of sexual misconduct and assault. Also goes to supporting survivors and related causes.
So at least it's going to somewhere good. If anything,
No, I know. It's just I'm of the thought it's
it's
not enough, and he's an a-hole, and he shouldn't be playing football because of this. Um,
uh, dude. I agree with you 100% on
he,
that. That's something that he should be not even doing,
it's shitbag behavior. So,
and that's putting it lightly.
and see, this is like this goes back to some of my issues with like super crazy diehard football fans. Is like there are people who are just like that's too much. He doesn't deserve this. And
He's
then there's
gonna
also
mess up
people
my
like,
fantasy team. He's gonna
no,
mess
this
up my
is like
fantasy.
Browns. I wouldn't draft him, and I have a history of not drafting really great players because of their off-field antics.
Yeah, but there's those people out there who are saying that that's too much and all that. He doesn't deserve that just because they have him on their fantasy team.
Well, if anyone's drafted already, they're absolutely crazy because it's still preseason and guys can get hurt. Um,
Hey, some people
I
do
don't.
early
I don't
stuff.
think I draft until the 31st in my office league and my one admin chat. I think we're gonna have a league. I have no idea when we're drafting in that one. But no, I'm seeing it from Browns fans. Like they're either they're really upset that he even got any suspension at all, or their outlook is, well, he'll be back in time for playoffs and we can shove it up the Steelers' ass. It's like, dude, he assaulted like 20 plus women sexually. Why are you?
Those people
I
just
get
don't
it. I
care.
get it. You want your team to win, but like, I don't want my team to win with a shitbag person leading the charge.
Which basically comes to those people who want their team to win over what he's done is those people don't care about anything else other than football and their team.
Yep.
That's it. That's all they care about. They don't care about how other people act off the field where they could hurt other people. They don't care. They just want their team to win at all costs, which is pretty sad.
It is. It is.
I
But that's
mean,
like that's my issue with like the crazy diehard NFL fans. Like it's a weird fandom, man. And I mean, I'm a diehard baseball fan. Like, I get diehard fandom, but then there's a whole other level of some of these people. Like,
There's a whole other
the
crazy
people
level.
who are tailgating at like 6 a.m. and they're already in paint and
That's crazy level.
they're like 7 beers in by like 8 a.m. Like,
8 a.m. Wow. They must start late.
I've never tailgated, so I don't know, man.
Yeah, I never. All I saw is people on video and on videos, and they're just hell. People tailgate at hockey games.
Okay, so slightly off topic, slightly on topic. Speaking of tailgating, there's a couple of videos on TikTok. There's a guy at Bills games in Buffalo.
He used to work in this video.
The guy making pizza in the filing cabinet.
Yes.
One, I want an old beat up filing cabinet now. Two, how awesome is that? Like, he legit just goes to make pizza. Because he used to make pizza as a teenager in a pizza shop. Like, that is so cool. Like, high praise for that guy. That guy's awesome.
And the fact that he's doing it from a filing cabinet.
And I don't think he's charging. I think he just goes to make pizza. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. But yeah, that'd be interesting to do it with a filing cabinet like that.
I'm totally tempted. I got to be honest.
Just go out and buy a cheap one. It'll melt though, but for how cheaply they're made now.
So if you watched all the videos, he has like almost like a cast iron tray in it, and he puts the coals in that, and then he puts a rack above the coals.
Yeah, I did see that part.
And then he puts the pizza on it. It's a nifty. It's a total broke ass setup, but it's really cool. Like I'm totally sold on.
But it works. But yeah, tailgating. People take that to next level, and I mean, don't get me wrong, that is pretty cool to do pizza like that. A cheap tailgating way, or a redneck tailgating way.
Look at where we live.
Right? But yeah, people have a weird obsession when it comes to football.
Yes, they do.
It's an obsession that you cannot really describe. Because like you said, people are tailgating at 5, 6 a.m., already have beers in them at 7, 8 o'clock instead of beer, or it's beer instead of coffee. Who knows? They might have spiked their coffee for all we know.
Oh, that's true too. They might have Irished that up a little bit.
Right?
I'm part Irish. I can get away with saying that.
They have, they have their smoked goods already going.
I mean,
at the stadium,
I'm sure the food is amazing.
Yeah, the food's amazing, but
I mean, I've been to picnics at your parents' house. Drunk people making food tends to be really good.
And interesting.
Your brothers made some good food at picnics. I'm just saying.
Agree. Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. Picnics, they tend to get a little interesting, especially when alcohol's involved.
We've really jumped the shark on this.
Just a tad. But no, tailgate, I think I have better things to do than sit in a parking lot playing games for a few hours before the event.
We've seen people tailgate concerts, and they had to have been there for hours before we even showed up for the concert.
Obsessions. That's just I don't get it. That's just me. Some people may do tailgating as a religion. Who knows? But for me, sports fans just who praise their team over basically human life is kind of ridiculous. That's my thought.
No, I get it. I mean, and we're two diehard. Like, you're a diehard Flyers fan, and I'm a diehard Phillies fan, and we're like, there's a limit.
There is. There is a limit to the game, to where You love the sport that much, but when it comes to human life, that takes priority over anything.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know, just morally, I wouldn't want that guy on on the team I cheer for.
Absolutely. I mean, because that basically would bring down. I mean, basically that just hurts the team right there in general because that's going to bring down the morale of the team. So if he plays and doesn't have anything against him,
I mean,
let's say Watson plays. Let's say he just gets a slap on the wrist and that's it. What's that going to say then for the rest of the team? Like,
that
we
tells
can do
them
whatever
they
we
can get
want.
away with doing whatever too. Yeah,
We can do whatever we want.
but at the same time, though, you got to think there's gonna be defensive players who are going to be headhunting him too.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
because not everyone has crap morals. And I got to throw this out there. I've seen in discussions where people were pointing out, like in comparison to Watson, like being upset that he's on their team. I've seen people throw out like when Todd Bertuzzi was on the Red Wings, people were like Wings fans were upset about that.
And for those of you who don't know that story, I forget what year it was. Todd Bertuzzi literally cheap shotted. I mean, you cannot get more of a cheap shot than grabbing the back of a jersey and swinging at a player. He literally and driving his head into the ice.
Yep.
Over a now, don't get me wrong. Beforehand, the player, the Colorado Avalanche player was his name is Steve Moore. After that incident, that was his career for hockey. That ended his career altogether. But before that, the thing was, which I saw the video, it could go either way, where Steve Moore did a cheap and not a cheap shot, but an elbow to the head of the Canucks captain. But in reality, it looked like the captain was falling, and it's just the way it caught. So it could go either way. But the fact that Todd Bertuzzi grabbed the back of the jersey and did a full swing with a hockey glove on. Now, those things are just not like boxing gloves, where there's like soft padding in them. Those things hurt. It
was essentially the moment that killed the enforcer role in the NHL.
Yes, because I 100% agree. And it's not like Steve Moore went and antagonized Bertuzzi for doing it. He tried to skate away from it.
Yeah, it was just an uncalled for cheap shot from a goon. Essentially, it's a goon move.
Yeah, and basically, pretty much when it happened, and he got suspended for the rest of the season, playoffs, and all that. My first thought was he should be suspended until Moore comes back. And if Moore never came back,
he's suspended.
Bertuzzi didn't come back. Bertuzzi never came back. That's
okay. So comparatively, I mean, I think if Watson can't get his act together, and even if again, because to me one is too many.
Agreed.
Happens one more time, he should be done from professional football.
Absolutely. Because there is, there's no call for that.
Exactly.
There's no call whatsoever for that. Between Watson and when, the Todd Bertuzzi incident with Steve Moore. And when people, like you said, when Red Wings found out Bertuzzi was a wing, they all booed him. They all were unhappy that he was a Red Wing.
Yeah.
And this is the same instance. I mean, I would feel that some Browns fans would be the same way. Not happy that he's a Brown.
No, he should be in a wood chipper. Sorry. I have very strong opinions on certain things, and
No, it's
you don't treat people that way.
no, you don't. And like we said, what does that say for other people? I mean, kids look up to these players. Kids look up to these players.
That they do, and it's a fine line because Charles Barkley got a lot of heat in the early 90s for saying I'm not a role model, because these guys don't play professional sports to be a role model. Like, that's just a happy accident of being a professional athlete. But I think more players today are smart enough to realize that with this attention comes responsibility. And some players don't understand that to this day still. But I think most players do.
And a lot of it's common sense that you shouldn't do stupid stuff.
Right.
I mean, I know watching a couple hockey clips of course, games I can't watch, where players would go and interact with the fans. Like, I saw one kid had a sign that said rock, paper, scissors for a puck. And the player was playing rock, paper, scissors.
Right.
He lost. He went and got a puck for the kid.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and he's like, like that, and with the rock, paper, scissors, lost, and off he goes.
I'm of the thought, and maybe, if I was a professional athlete, I'd feel differently, but you're taking just a little bit of your time to make someone's entire day by doing something like that. And it doesn't cost you a thing.
Carey Price, he's a big one here. He photobombs people. If he's standing next to a bench, and if he's standing next to the bench and somebody's trying to take a picture of him, he'll be like, and just look at the camera with it. Things like that. Or, players just taking that 5 extra seconds to wave to
That's
a young
all it
fan.
takes.
Baseball, playing catch with a fan.
A lot of players have been doing that the last few. Probably, since COVID, a lot of players have really started finding a kid in the an outfielder, finding a kid in the outfield and just playing catch with them off and on throughout the game in between innings.
And that kid has a memory for life.
Yep.
That kid has now have more love for the game.
And it's those little things that grow the game in ways that, and this is spoiler alert, a TV deal doesn't, or a rights package with Xfinity doesn't. You can get all the money you want for TV and for Sirius XM airing it, and Amazon and Apple and everything else, but it's those little things, those interactions that create fans and keep fans just as much as accessibility through TV or radio.
I mean, hell, I saw during one football season, I forget what team it was, one of the players was playing catch with a fan, throwing football back and forth. He was just picking fans along the line, just start throwing ball to them.
Yeah.
Again, that makes a memory for the game. Or going around and signing autographs before the game, just going through. So, I mean, these guys are role models. They should know better. This guy, apparently not. Like you said, some people have a hard time grasping what the responsibility, not just for playing, but also for the teams that they represent.
Some people are just shitbags.
Pretty much. So, on that note, that'd be the end of the first period. We'll be right back.